Welcome to Barn Banter, the podcast by Horse Illustrated. Each month, we bring guests to educate, entertain, or inspire you as you pursue the horsey lifestyle, plus an adoptable horse with a unique story. I'm Susan Friedland, an equestrian author, blogger, and speaker with a soft spot for off-track thoroughbreds. You can find me at my blog, saddleseekshorse.com, or on Facebook or Instagram at saddleseekshorse.
And I'm Holly Kakamis, editor-in-chief of Horse Illustrated and Young Rider magazines. You can find us at horseillustrated.com, youngrider.com, and Horse Illustrated and Young Rider on Instagram and Facebook.
Hi, Holly. It's April. Happy spring, although I'm not happy because it's snowing outside my window right now. How are you?
Oh, I am good. And it's been nonstop rain here in California, so not much better. We are not getting our 75 and sun that we paid for. So I'm a little salty about that.
My gosh. Well, I am dying to hear about your trip because in our last episode, we bantered a bit about how you were going. Oh my gosh, I almost said Iceland. You did not go to Iceland. You went to New Zealand.
Down under.
But yes. You rode. Okay, so I want to hear about riding Icelandics.
Yes. So I went my first trip to the Southern Hemisphere. So it was weird. Like the further south we went in New Zealand, it's actually colder, which is all just kind of mind bending. I didn't notice if the toilets flushed the other way, like they always say about Australia. They just basically, I'm getting way off track already, but their toilets just like explode with water everywhere it's a lot of water. It just seems like 20 gallons every time compared
oh my
to
gosh,
where like the shower barely mists you and the toilet flushing is like 1 ounce of water. But anyway, that's a totally off track. But yes, so New Zealand, I looked up my first like part of a trip horse ride that I've ever done. So I just, for some reason, decided I wanted to do this in New Zealand. And there was a Icelandic trekking place right by the hotel. So, we didn't have a car or anything. It just was hop in an Uber for a couple minutes and get to this horse farm right outside of Christchurch, which I believe is the second largest city. It's on the South Island, the top of the South Island, and pretty small town for being one of their larger cities. And, we kind of explored the city the first day, and then it was time for my riding an Icelandic, which I've never done. But it just sounded like, for experienced riders, 2.5 hours, you'll be going through forests and riding on the beach and galloping. I was like, yes.
Forests and a beach. Wow.
Yeah.
This sounds epic.
So yes, but I love how they did their rides. You get to go out to the field and catch your horse, not included in your ride time, brush them, saddle them. So it's like really fun that you get to have that connection with your horse. Most of these horses were black, dark bay. So they all looked the same, except for we had a couple of like a gray and a pinto, but the rest of them all looked.
So did you get to just like walk out in the field with the halter and be like, I like that?
No, she decided which one, but it's funny, even she couldn't tell them apart. She's like, you're going to ride so-and-so after asking you about your riding. And then she's like, I can't tell which one that is. And they don't have any white markings. They're all just floofy black horses.
Okay, not to interrupt your flow, but I have a question about this because I've done some rides on different trips and that. And do you really tell your experience as a rider? Because if you say, oh, well, I've been riding most of my life and I don't want to get stuck with the horse that needs training or is difficult,
See,
so
I'm
do
kind
you
of
undersell
like
or oversell?
You know me, I'm a adrenaline junkie eventer. Yeah. Like I just went kamikaze. I'm like, yeah, I ride every day for the last 30 years. So give me whatever. And she's like, okay. And honestly, it's Icelandics. I wasn't that worried that I was going to get some like enormous thing that was going to run off with me like a train. So, and the horse was fine. She wasn't in any way like tricky or spooky. And I know I told you that Icelandics don't spook because that's what I always heard. And I definitely saw 2 of them at least spook when there was this really loud noise. We walked past some like guys building some crazy stuff with this super loud noise that was very sudden, and two of the horses did spook.
Well, I would probably spook too. I feel like I'm kind of a spooky horse in my personality, like loud noises. People scare me coming around a corner.
Yeah, I would say they are definitely less spooky than what I would expect a horse to do in that situation and other situations. But just to confirm, they're not completely spook-proof. So anyway, yeah, so this group I was in, the like working student that led our ride was German, and she's lived in like all these different countries working for horse whatever, rides, barns, anything you can think of. So that was pretty cool. And then the other three people on the ride besides me were also German girls, ladies, you know.
Oh, did they speak in German the whole time and you felt like
everyone was German except for me? And they did speak in German a lot, but they did try to like also speak in English, so I wouldn't feel like they were being totally rude.
Okay.
But you know, they're more of a quiet people than Americans. Like I felt like this just ridiculous loud person, which, you know, I'm not a loud person, but compared to them, and
right, comparatively speaking, like, you were loud.
We are from Germany, and we just don't laugh.
I bet they were beautiful riders, though.
Yeah, they were all great. I think one of them said she wasn't even like very experienced, but she's still, compared to an American that says that, like, you've got a horse and you know how to handle it. And the horses were so good. Like,
so did your feet, because they're smaller, what were they, about 13, 14 hands?
Oh
so
my
like,
gosh.
did they feel like, small, or what did it feel like?
Had to be 13 hands at the most. This horse I rode when I was brushing her, and I'm only 5'4", like her withers were, I don't even know, like around my chest or less. Like they are so small. I was like, this horse is going to crumple beneath me. Like, I don't even feel, the picture I have, my foot is like down to her knee. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's funny.
Yeah, we all looked gigantic on them, but
was she comfortable, or did you feel like this is not?
Yeah, so she goes, okay, well, I think her name was Tina. She goes, Tina has a very smooth tolt, like you'll like her, but when you know, they will trot if you kind of like lean forward with a loose rein, and they'll tolt if you sit deep, like wrap your legs around and like hold the reins tight if you want to tolt. So I was like, okay. And I just felt like she wanted to like catch up with the group, because I was trying to keep her slow to keep her tolting, but she wanted to catch up. So she would just immediately break into this super bouncy gait that was probably pacing, I'm guessing, based on the other horses, like to pace or trot. I don't know, but I wasn't.
So were you bouncing, or did you just 2-point, or what did you do?
I was like, I want her to tolt if she has this nice tolt, but she had to be going more slow to have a nice tolt.
So you did experience the tolt?
Yes.
How would you describe it?
We're riding like through the trails and the forest, and she'd be like, when we got to a straight stretch, okay, let's do some more tolting. So we did like probably 10, 15 times of just, let's go for a little tolt. So when she was in her gait, I could tell, because it was perfectly smooth. It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. But I didn't really like get it sorted out, the cues, until like the last 3 times of very end.
No.
And like what I can only describe as hanging on her face was like the right way to do it for this particular horse. And I was just thinking, oh no, I have to tell Susan I was like hanging on this horse's face.
That sounds like me, my first time fox hunting.
But like then she would stay in a really smooth tolt. But if I like, you know, tried to ride her like dressage, like really like sitting deep and using a ton of leg and half halt. Like if I'd half halt, she would tolt like 2 strides and then break out of it as soon as I stopped the like intensive half halting. So it was really just hang on her face. And so I was telling the girl leading the ride, I feel like I'm just like hanging on her too much. She goes, no, there's a lot of tension in like gaiting. So you have to like keep the tension in their body, or else if they like lose that tight body, they can't do their gait. So you want, and I'm
trying to get rid of the tension in my horse's body.
I know,
fine. That doesn't maybe it's because it's the Southern Hemisphere. It's reverse.
It's opposite day.
Oh my gosh.
It was so weird. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense. But I talked to someone else about like gaited horses, and they said the same thing. Like, oh yeah, they really have to like hold tension in their body to like gait, or else they drop out of the
Oh,
gate. So I guess
okay.
this is normal, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like a fast gait. I know like Tennessee walking horses have the running walk, which is like faster than a
Yeah.
trot and almost like canter speed. But this was more like faster than a walk, but slower than the pacing thing that she wanted to do. But we got down to the beach, and it was just this remote beach. There's no access points, no houses, no roads that come out to this beach. So you go
Sounds
specifically
awesome.
low tide. They time all their rides to low tide so that
Okay.
you have, I mean, it's practically like a quarter mile wide of wet sand. It's amazing. And it just goes on
Wow.
forever. It's so beautiful. And it was a little, overcast, but not cold or anything. And she goes, okay, you can go first. Just go gallop down until like wherever she gets tired or wants to stop. So I'm like, okay, bye. So I like take off,
See
gallop
ya.
her like as long as I can. And these horses, they don't want to go forever. It's not like my horse Artie, who probably
Oh,
would have
you're a
been
venter. Yeah.
several miles away before he would get tired. I never ever to a whole cross country course, he would not be remotely tired. He'd be
Oh
around
my
it again.
gosh.
So this horse was like, this is my stopping point. So she like pulls herself up and I wait for the other horses and we did, I
So you
think
won
two,
the race,
I
basically? You
won,
won.
I won. Yeah. No, so I got to do one other like where I was the first one to go and gallop
Uh-huh.
her as long as I wanted. And then we got off and had like our little tea and hot chocolate and cookie break, which was so cute.
I
And
love that.
which was good too, because these horses are wide. My legs were like screaming. It felt like doing a split to sit on this horse. You
Oh
ride
my
in
gosh.
Icelandic saddles, which are like a dressage saddle, but they're specifically for Icelandics.
Oh,
And then it was time to ride back. So we went mostly through the forest on the way back instead of all the way back down the beach. And just, it was so beautiful, like pine forests and trails. And it was just amazing. So I
okay.
recommend
Well,
anyone going there
I
for
hope
sure.
that I feel like I was there, and I feel like you definitely need to write an article about this.
I have no time, but I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
I'm gonna make
Okay,
time.
good, 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 good.
Yes. So
Horse
I'm planning.
Illustrated readers want to know more and they want to see the
Yes,
pictures
I'm
too.
looking
So,
at the
yeah.
July issue because June is already
Perfect.
done. So
Okay.
that's the plan. Yes, but it was
Fabulous.
called, I think it was called Christchurch Icelandic Trekking or Horse Trekking, something like that, if anyone happens to be looking for it.
Okay.
Yes, it was great. The horses were all very safe. Like, I think there's probably a weight limit of around 200 pounds or less. I don't know. I can't remember, but these horses are tiny. They are so small. Like I said, I felt huge up there just being like a pretty small person. So if you like a big behemoth, like maybe it's not for you, but if you're interested
Yeah.
in beach galloping on a horse that's not like crazy, then definitely. So yes, that is my fun experience. And what have you been up to, you and Knight? And I know you were traveling. I want to know everything.
Yes. Well, it's hard to, I'm still thinking about galloping on that wide beach
Oh, yeah.
night. So I had Dr. Page, his equine vet that does kind of the bodywork stuff and acupuncture out yesterday. And she was one of our guests a couple months back. And she
Oh,
said his
yeah.
back is looking really good. So, because I do all these different stretches and exercises, both before and after I ride. So that made me feel happy. He has been very muddy because it also won't stop raining and or snowing here in Illinois. So, um, I'm getting, I'm working my arm muscles doing I was kind of thinking like the horse person's wax on, wax off from Karate Kid. I got the one, curry in my hand and the stiff brush in the other hand and that.
I like the two hand. Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I'm really excited about our episode. I know it's spring, even though it doesn't feel like it necessarily. And what could be cuter than foals? I'm really enjoying I'm on kind of full watch vicariously. So there's some Facebook pages that people photograph Chincoteague pony foals, and they're like, oh, we've got another one here. So I just saw earlier today, foal number 6 was born on Assateague Island, and they're just so cute. So I can't
Wow.
wait to talk to Natalie about foals. And
Yes. We all love
yeah.
foals, I think. My somewhat limited foal experience was that coming out of college to grad school in Kentucky, I just really wanted to work with foals because I never had before. And I was just have to have foals in my project. I have to do it. So I did. I managed to get a project with foals, and I was not on foal watch, but they had to call me like as soon as the foals were coming. And so I would get there like around the time they were popping out or just after to do weighing and measuring and to do some poop samples. That was fun.
Oh,
So yes, but I did get to see a lot of foals, and they're like, okay, these are your problem now. Like you're mucking these stalls, you're feeding them. So I got a lot of hands-on work with foals, and I just, oh my gosh, I love them so much. You get so attached to them because they're just like little babies that grow up while you're watching until they got weaned. I had to work with them all the way up to weaning. So I got very, very attached to them and would follow their racing careers because at UK, they get donated breedings and donated broodmares. So they sell the foals. Can't remember if it was Phasic Tipton mostly, weanling sales. But anyway, so they would get proceeds from some of these went for really pretty good money at the auction, and I would follow their racing career. So it was a lot of fun to work
oh,
with those. And then we had a few from the vet school that were like these completely feral mares that weren't thoroughbreds, and they had a few that we used. And oh man, one of those mares kicked me so hard, and
oh,
they were. They were the thoroughbreds are my favorite because they're just used to being handled, even if it's been a while, you can go in their stall and lead them and lead their babies, and it's a little more
oh
civilized.
my
So
gosh.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I did love their soft mane. I can just feel it, like how soft like
Oh,
manes, and their cute little like curly
their
whiskers. And
spindly legs. I just love their
yes,
long legs. It's
they're
adorable.
the
So I
best.
know we're going to be heading to Kentucky for some events in May, and one of the things I love to do when I'm in Lexington is just kind of drive around some of those
Oh,
roads that I don't even know the names of and just look at the foals in the field and pull over and take a picture. And I always think
yes,
like, okay,
you
I hope there's
gotta.
not someone who's going to come out and yell at me. What are you doing?
My
I'm like, I just
favorite
love
is
foals.
Old Frankfurt Pike, you got to do, but any of them, Paris Pike, like all of the pikes that it's, if anyone doesn't know, Lexington's kind of like a wheel with downtown in the middle, and then New Circle Road is the highway that goes around in a circle, and then each spoke is the major roads. Just drive down one and you'll see blackboard fence and rolling green
Oh,
pastures and thoroughbreds worth millions of dollars in every field. And it's
amazing.
absolutely a dream. The first time I visited was in April, and I'm like, I'm never leaving here. And that's what drew me in. So
I could see why.
absolutely.
I could see why.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have an awesome show in store today, and I'm really excited because one of my favorite people is joining us, and you may know her as an author of many, many equestrian fiction books, Natalie Keller Reinert. And she's going to be talking to us today about foals. And she actually has a book titled Foaling Season. And we'll see what dig in a little bit to her creative life and life with her 2 horses at her farm. And then after that, we're going to be talking to ASPCA about multiple horses that are adoptable and could be your next wonderful partner with the right
Yes,
horse.
and they will be at Equine Affaire, Ohio this month in just a few days from the time that this is posted. April 11th to 14th, I believe, is the event. So, but if you don't catch them there, they may still be available afterwards. So definitely check out their cute pictures because that's what I like to do. They're all very cute.
Same here. Same here. All right. Well, on to the show.
With unrivaled performance and breakthrough equine technology, Exhibitor's color-enhancing system is pH balanced, contains no harsh chemicals, bleaches, or dyes, and intensifies your horse's natural coat color, contrast, and shine. Champion dressage trainer and international Grand Prix rider Kim Gentry says, the quick shampoo and quick conditioner are really amazing. The formula is very low sudsing, and with very little effort, it pulled the dirt and grime off the horse's coats without having to do a lot of scrubbing. The thing I'm really impressed with is how soft it leaves the horse's mane and tail. For professional show ring results, Exhibitor's formulas clean and maintain the magnificence of your show horse. For more, visit exhibitorsequine.com.
Natalie, I'm super stoked, as they say in California, to have you on our podcast today. And hello.
Hi, what's up with my favorite California girl?
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I'm not in California anymore. And actually, as I'm recording this, it's snowing outside my window here in the Chicago suburbs. But
that
Holly,
explains that light. That is gorgeous light you have on your face. It's snow reflection.
Well,
I do miss snow light. That is beautiful.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, I thought of having you on the show because this is the month of April, and I love following on social media like Full Friday, and foals are adorable. And I haven't seen any yet this year, but I thought, oh my gosh, Natalie has a book, Foaling Season, and I know you have experience at breeding farms. And so I was like, I want to dive into this topic, and who better to talk about foals than someone who's kind of lived it, at least for a while. So
yeah, probably a lot
about foals.
Foals are hairy little demons. They are fluffy until you touch them, and then they're bony. They bite, they kick, they squeal, they poop on you. They're really tough, but they die easy. So they're sort of a confusing paradox creature. I love them. They're my favorite kind of horse, foal.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So tell us, let's back up a little bit. So when did you first encounter one of these hairy little creatures that they feel bony? That's so interesting.
Yeah. Well, when I first drove to Ocala when I was 18 and headed for a job interview with a job that would go really wrong, like most jobs do in the horse business, I passed a field full of foals, and it was the first time I had ever seen such a calendar picture in person. And I was like, this is it. This is it. This is the life for me. And it would take a little while, but I did eventually get a job on a breeding farm. And I started in autumn, which meant that I had to wait a few months for the babies to start arriving. And then once the babies started arriving, that was when my education in foal wrestling really began.
Foal wrestling. I like that.
So
I like
foal wrestling, not my term. It may not be widely used. I'm not really sure, but it was very prevalently used at this farm.
Oh my gosh.
And it was, it was a farm that was run by a vet tech, and there was a vet always on call and was there quite often. So we were pretty legit and above board. It wasn't like, Natalie's crazy House of Horrors boarding farm. We had really nice horses.
Was this a thoroughbred farm or a sport horse?
This was not, actually. We had some thoroughbreds, but it was a sport horse farm where I started.
Okay.
So we had crossbreds. Mostly we had a Clydesdale stallion, a Frisian stallion, a thoroughbred stallion. And then we had mares that were either brought in or that the farm paired, for their specific, like, what are we trying to get here? Like a Frisian thoroughbred cross, that kind of thing. So it was really eclectic in that we had a miniature who wasn't just for teasing. He was also for breeding, and he knew it. We taught a Gypsy Vanner colt how to do artificial insemination.
Oh
so
my.
That was exciting.
We got to keep this show family friendly.
So I said it nicely. Use the scientific terms. So a lot of exciting things happen on this farm, like too many exciting things, honestly. And that's the thing about breeding is it is like the dirty, terrifying underworld of where your horses come from.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So the other thing I want to know, so this may be a silly question, but were you there when the mares were giving birth? Were you part of the full?
Oh, I was in it. Yes. So I did full watch, which meant I sat up all night, and a alerted everyone if we had what looked like an imminent foaling, or if we had an issue, or one of the foals had an issue. So I did foal watch for several months, which was kind of good for me because I'm an insomniac. But I started listening to Art Bell, who had that like paranormal radio show in the 90s and the 2000s. So then I started thinking I was seeing aliens everywhere. So
wow.
The insomnia issue like got compounded by aliens. It was the whole thing. There was not a lot of sleep in those days. And I was 19 and I was more suggestible, I think, than I am now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so you know, and you just get in there, right? Like foaling is something that once it begins, it has a countdown clock starts ticking. There, you can't have you can't have a 24-hour labor with a mare. It's not like a woman where she can just go and go. Trust me, I've been there. With a mare, it's like the water breaks. Okay, that baby needs to come out. And so most people, I would say most people get in there and help out and get that foal out and get the nose clear and do the things and try to keep the mare from breaking the umbilical cord right away, and just sort of making sure the foal gets out and can breathe pretty much as quickly as possible. So that means timing, like if you're going to help pull, that means pulling when the mare is pushing. Things like that are really important. And it's something I would not have ever wanted to do, not under the eye of professionals, like to be trained how to foal out a mare. And I don't know how people do it at home without having been trained. That's frightening to me, like just from all the things that I've seen. And I did have my own mares and foals. I had a little breeding operation for a while.
You did? Oh my gosh.
I did. I did. Mm-hmm. And I love like the program, and I love everything from choosing that mating to getting your mare through her pregnancy to foaling to training that foal. I love every bit of it, probably more than anything else in the horse business, but I don't like selling. And so I would have to have like a ranch where my horses would live forever if I were ever to do it again.
Wow. Okay.
Because the problem is then you have a horse, right?
Right. Right. So maybe it occurred to me while you were talking that there could be listeners who have thought, oh, at some point in my life, I would like to have a mare that has a foal. And what would be maybe a word of advice or caution or any, sage wisdom you could share with someone who's thinking that?
I would work super closely with your vet and make sure that it's a vet with a lot of repro experience. I did have an experience with a vet who was not a specialist in reproduction. And she checked a mare for me and told me that the mare was not only no longer pregnant, but had a very large tumor, and suggested that the mare was having studdish behaviors. Now that I recall, in fact, she was fully acting like a stallion. It was almost hilarious. But she said that the tumor was creating testosterone, and the testosterone was causing the behaviors, and that she was barren. She was not pregnant. And I was like, that's weird. That doesn't seem right. So I called another vet with reproduction experience for a whole other issue. And she reached in and said, oh, full kicked me. I was like, excuse me?
Oh,
what? I was getting ready to ride this mare. Yeah, super pregnant. So it's really important to have somebody who knows exactly what's going on in there. Because there's a lot of reaching in and feeling around with veterinary work and foals, and they want to know what they're reaching into and what they're feeling, kind of thing. So I would work super closely with a really experienced vet, and if you can go and join somebody who is experienced with breeding and learn about what it's like to foal out a mare and about all of the sort of time markers and the things that you're looking for, so much the better, because this is not a casual thing. Like, you were bringing a new horse into the world in what can potentially be a really violent and bloody way. And that can't be taken lightly. Fun.
Wow. Okay. Well, I never want to, this is not on my bucket list as an equestrian, but
it's great.
Fun fact, you guys, I won a weanling in an essay contest when I was in 4-H, but we'll save that for another episode. Okay. So I want to ask you now about your book. You've written a ton of books. I think probably many of our listeners will be familiar with you because of that. You write fiction, but you have a book called Foaling Season, and like, maybe you can take us behind the scenes of that a little bit. And so what you were just telling us about foals and being on night watch and all that, did that play into kind of the storyline of your book?
It did. Foaling Season, in a lot of ways, it takes that element of danger that is part of our lives with horses. And I think that that is encapsulated really well in the breeding. And every time we create a new horse, there's this moment of danger and of stress and fear, even if it's only 5 minutes until the foal is on the ground and you're like, oh, thank goodness, it's all there. And the waiting for them to nurse and how your work has just begun once you've gotten the foal out, that kind of thing. I think that is an expression for our whole horse business in a certain way. Foaling Season, the book, is about horsewomen entering new phases of their lives. And so it seemed like an appropriate way to showcase it in the springtime. The book is set between Ocala and just north of Ocala, where I live, in Alachua County, which is a place that really comes alive in spring. Like, we have a very definitive winter to spring here in North Florida. And the foals and the coming race horses and the eventing season and all those things are just like a little part of this big natural progression from cold to warm. And yeah, so Foaling Season, it's about 4 professional horsewomen, and their lives are changing and intersecting with one another. One works in race horses. One is thinking about leaving her husband. One is trying to recover like her sense of self after having a child. And one is trying to figure out what to do with this fame that she never wanted. She became a very famous young rider. They're all in it together. There's a lot of friendship, a lot of women's friendship, which I think doesn't get covered a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's something that, we have in our barns, and in our riding communities and stuff. There's a lot of female friendship. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that gets overlooked in favor of like, let's write about the murders, or let's write about the romances and stuff. And those are all really fun, highly expressive things, but I think friendship can be as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then, so Foaling Season, is this part of one of your series?
Yeah. So Foaling Season is part of a trilogy called Briar Hill Farm. And the idea behind Briar Hill Farm is that it brings in some characters from all of my really popular series, because I write about eventing, I write about horse racing, and I write about show barns and all of these different aspects of our industry. And most of my books are set in Ocala. And so one thing that's fun for me is to write them into each other's books, right? Because we all run over one another and, oh, you know her, I know her, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so the books were doing that same sort of chatty, gossipy, everybody knows each other thing. And so I brought them all together into this little trilogy just to show how we're all like really interconnected in this business. It was really fun. It was a big challenge, but it was really fun. And the feedback on them has been really, really good. People are like, oh my God, I can't believe the third one is the last one. It's not the last one for these characters. It's just last time I'm writing all of them in one book for a while, because that was really tiring.
Okay. So you mentioned that you're in Florida, and I know you have a couple equine friends who live in your backyard. So can you kind of tell us about your place and your ponies?
Yeah. So I live in the woods in Florida, which is a big change from living in the swamp in Florida. But I won't get into the bugs. I have a teenager quarter horse named Ben and a senior miniature horse named Manny. Together, they are both chestnuts. They are both former stallions, and they are both in disgrace this morning because they tore down a whole bunch of fence.
Oh, no. Did they get out?
No, we use temp. So one of the things about being in Florida is that grass is a constant struggle. So I use temporary fencing inside of a big perimeter. And I added some because I'm going to be seeding, which is a whole thing. And they went through it last night. That's all.
Oh, no. All right. So what would you say? Do you have a dream horse? Like, has been your dream? Or what do you like in horses? Because you worked at a farm with so many different types of horses, it sounds like. Do you have a favorite?
I am. I'm such a thoroughbred person, like just completely. Like I'm just obsessed with thoroughbreds. I can swear them off and say, I will not touch another one of these dainty, poor feeders with bad feet for the rest of my life. And then I'll see one and go, oh, thoroughbred. Just love them.
Oh my gosh.
So there's probably another thoroughbred in my future, but it won't be with temporary fencing.
Smart.
And every time I see a German riding pony, my breath kind of catches. They're pretty magnificent. So I don't know. Okay. That would be the expensive end of my horse interests.
Yeah. Well, speaking of thoroughbreds, we saw each other at the Thoroughbred Makeover last fall. And I know you were volunteering there. And I know volunteering is kind of an important value for you in terms of the horse world and that. So maybe share with us a bit about your philosophy on volunteering or what got you started and why you like it so much.
Well, volunteering is really cool because it's a job that you don't have to be qualified for and you can't get fired from because they're just happy you're there. So I went to the Thoroughbred Makeover because I thought, well, this is working with retired racehorses is really important to me. It's how I got started in writing for equestrians was my retired racehorse blog. And so I thought I could go to this and hang out. I could go to this and try to make some connections, or I could go help out. And I said, the hell with it. I'll go help out. And it was really great. Like I was asked to do things. Sometimes I knew how to do them. Sometimes I had to guess. And, once in a while I didn't do something because it wasn't explicitly told to me. And I was like, well, you didn't explicitly tell me. And they're like, oh, guess who didn't? What can they do? They want bodies. And you get to work with people who are so excited about what they're doing. Like the Thoroughbred Makeover was so inspiring that I wrote a book that's like set about the path and what it's like to show there, which is my most recent book, The Makeover Horse. It's literally, they call it the happiest horse show on earth because you're just glad you're there and you're glad everyone else is there. And it's really hard to explain how good the vibes are at the Thoroughbred Makeover. But I volunteer at events here in Florida as well. And again, it's just, I'm not eventing right now. Ben has made it really clear he's not interested. And it's a way for me to go out and, give back to the sport that has given me so much and just make sure people are having a great day. And I feel really privileged that I'm able to take a day and go out and volunteer. I know that not everybody has that kind of schedule. And so I kind of check my privilege every now and then by donating my time. And they give me a good sandwich for lunch. I love a sandwich.
Nice. That's amazing. All right. So now that we know all about the volunteering and your herd and all this, and the fact that you're an insomniac and that you had a blog back in the day, maybe just tell us a little bit about you as a writer. Were you one of those kids that wrote stories in a notebook and drew pictures of horses in the margins or,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know the type. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah,
I do.
What used to make me so mad was the back of the pony books, like old Black Stallion books, probably old Marguerite Henry books. They tended to have essay contests in the back where you could win a horse, but they were all from like the 60s. And I was just reading these reprints. Why was the closing date for this 40 years ago? I could have won a pony.
Oh my gosh.
I have one skill and it's writing stories about ponies.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Yeah. Really, honestly, writing horse books for a living it's one of those things where you say, what would 5-year-old me think? And 5-year-old me would be over the moon thrilled. Like you get to write horse books and then go outside and have horses right outside. Like that's insane. 5-year-old me is not wrong. It is insane. And I love it so much. This is 100% what I was meant to do with my life.
I love that.
While we're on the author topic, I just wanted to throw in because I can't resist. Yeah, I was the horse story writing kid too. I think we were all that girl. I had an entire series that was a knockoff of the Black Stallion, but the names were changed. And
awesome.
Of course, I had to have a girl main character too because that was missing. So yeah, and every page had a picture. So yes, I'm right there with you, ladies. But now I'm only just like a wannabe writer. I am an editor, but it is also my like 5-year-old me dream. So yay for that.
Do you still have the stories? Does your mom have the stories?
Yes, somewhere? I did. I found them. So it's pretty funny. And I don't know if I told you I like made a whole horse magazine when I was at that age.
No way.
And now we were all just for show sheen, and then it would have an article and that kind of thing. It was like complete knockoff of Horse Illustrated, which I loved at the time. So yeah, I am definitely in the right job too. So I love it. I love it. We don't hear that enough. So
we were all budding members of the publishing industry. It was coming.
You couldn't stop us.
No. We may run it someday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think too, for me, it's just like, because I didn't have access to horses, but I had access to horse magazines, to horse books, and then I eventually found my way to horses. But it's that thing that kind of, I guess, keeps you going. You don't realize it, but
oh, it is. Yeah. I didn't start riding lessons till I was 10. And that was probably the longest 10 years of my life.
Yeah, same. I was 9, and that seemed like so late to get started.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Tragic childhood.
It was awful.
My question for Natalie, like, since you've been out there doing it, and I'm a reader now. I've just decided that's my niche for this world of novels because I've always loved fiction, and I read like 100 a year. So I am big on reading.
Lucky girl.
I don't know how I fit the time in because I read pretty slowly, but so could you just tell us about your different series and your inspiration for writing?
Oh, well, I started writing about racing, and my inspiration was my quarter life crisis. So it was really about like this question that comes up over and over again, probably in my writing, is what on earth are we doing? And trying to figure out why horses do run my life, and if it's necessary for horses to run my life, and if there's anything else out there. And I've reached a comfortable place with that in my life. And I think it's because I wrote through it through so many books. So I've written about racing. I have a series called Alex and Alexander that's like a grown-up Black Stallion series. And then I have a series called the Eventing series, which is my really big popular one because it's just drama and galloping and relationships and enemies. It's like the Saddle Club for grown-ups, right? But it's also the character arc of one intensely difficult woman becoming less difficult as well as she matures, which is really a fun thing to write. Then I have lots of little two-parters about the amateur experience and the showing experience. And then I have Ocala Horse Girls, which is my romantic comedy series. And those are all set in the Ocala area. And they're about women, accomplishing their dreams and finding somebody to kind of share that with them along the way. So a book for every mood is how I like to do it.
Love that.
That's cool. Okay, Natalie, you are someone I know who has had myriad careers. And so like Holly, I was chatting with Natalie one time, and I think it was, you were like the head of calligraphy in one of your shops or something. I was like, what?
At Walt Disney World.
Yeah. So maybe can you highlight for us just a few of your more interesting jobs that you've had?
Yeah. So I have been a mounted officer in the New York City Parks Department mounted unit based in Central Park. I have been an exercise rider at Aqueduct Racetrack. I have, in fact, been a calligrapher at Walt Disney World and painted Christmas ornaments. What else have I done? I've been a travel agent. That was fun, actually. I've been a marketing executive for a transatlantic airline. So here's a true story about that. When I first moved to New York City, when I was like, 22 or something, I wanted to work on The New Yorker. And The New Yorker had just moved into 4 Times Square which is called the Condé Nast building. And they've moved since, but at the time it was called the Condé Nast building. And I marched up to the Condé Nast building and I said, I'm going to work in you someday. And then I got a job there. But what I didn't know is that most of the Condé Nast building belonged to a law firm called Skadden Arps. And I worked in the basement.
In the basement?
Yes. It was so sad.
Oh no.
We had a great corporate cafeteria. Yeah. The corporate cafeteria was on the 34th floor. And the Friday Caesar salad was epic. But other than that, it sucked.
That's really fun.
Tell us more about Disney. I want to know about the Disney job. Did you like it?
No, I love
horror stories too.
There's both. I mean, there's both. Working at Disney is it's like you have to really want to belong to something to really enjoy working at Disney, because if you feel like you belong to it, it all makes a lot of sense. And if you feel like you don't belong, then you're like, what am I doing? There's a lot of clashes between like unions and management all the time because it just creates weirdness with seniority and stuff. But at the local level, like just going out every day and being the most fun, happy version of yourself and literally giving people this amazing experience every single day is really uplifting and fun. And I never really thought of myself as a fun person until I learned how to be a Disney cast member. And the training there really brought me out of my shell in a lot of ways. And I'm really grateful for it. And I worked in stores and I worked front desk and I was a concierge and I worked in management. I did lots of different things like in the parks and the resorts, and it was wonderful. And I would do it again.
That's cool. I live 20 minutes from Disneyland, so I know a few people that work there, and I love
Disneyland.
If you fit into the world, I think it is amazing for a job. But yeah, you always hear like the pay is terrible. Of course, it's expensive to live here in Orange County, but
I think that's really the problem. The pay is decent, but the living expenses are insane. I think it's something that if somebody can just say, I'm going to slot myself into this for 6 months and try this and try being this person, I think it's a really cool experience. You don't have to join the cult, but you can kind of try the cult out. See what you can learn from it. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. It's metaphorical, you guys.
Yes, we get it.
Don't join a cult.
It's not like being a horse person where you're stuck in the cult.
Right, exactly. For life.
No, that's for life.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, Natalie, it's been a joy to talk to you. And where can our listeners find you, learn more about you, see your books, read your books, all that good stuff?
All that. I am apparently the only Natalie Keller Reinert on the internet, so I'm super easy to find. I go by nataliekReinert.com and Natalie K. Reinert on Instagram. Those are the best places to find me.
And could you spell that for some of us? It's the E and the I gets a little confusing because I've got
the word Rainer. You know about reining, competition, reining. So it's Rainer with the T on the end.
Nice.
It's just that Reinhardt is a more common last name. So people hear Reinhardt. That is my fault. I should not have taken my husband's last name. I love him, but his last name has been a pain.
No, I love that. Rainer with a T. That's how I learned how to spell Lipizan. It has pizza in it. That's, I like those tricks. Yeah, that's good.
I wish I was a Lipizan and I had pizza in me. I haven't had breakfast.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. Well, thank you so much. It's been great talking to you.
Oh, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Go get some breakfast. Instagram and a link to your website in our show notes for the listeners. So
great. Thanks very much.
It's not easy being a cowgirl, but a little magic helps. No matter if she's a horse trainer, photographer, mother, executive, or athlete, Cowgirl Magic Hand Cream is here to add a hint of the luxurious life to any active, hardworking lifestyle. The new Cowgirl Magic Ultra Hydrating Cream is rejuvenating and clean, complemented by a light, soothing fragrance. Formulated with a blend of coconut, apricot, avocado, sesame, and olive oil, this age-defying formula works hard to deeply hydrate, restore, and fight the appearance of wrinkles as it absorbs quickly, with no residue or greasy feel. Learn more at cowboymagic.com.
today we have Kaylin Caldwell, Director of ASPCA Right Horse Program, and Bailey Richards, the Manager of ASPCA's Right Horse Program. Thank you for joining us today, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no
Thrilled to be here.
So I know we have a lot going on at Equine Affaire, Ohio, which is coming up very soon. It's April 11th to 14th, I believe. There's just so much. I don't want to get any of the details wrong. So can one of you just tell us about the adoption event and barn that's going to be going on there?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're so excited to be back in Ohio. Equine Affaire is just such the perfect backdrop for an adoption event. And this will be the fourth time that we have brought our ASPCA Right Horse Adoption Partners, which are organizations from around the country that we work with who conduct adoptions, together for an adoption event. And, you know, these adoption events have been so successful for dogs and cats. This was a really great idea that came about to try the same thing for horses. So over the years, this event has slowly grown. This year, we have 10 different ASPCA Right Horse partners coming, bringing nearly 40 horses that range from miniature horses, thoroughbreds, ponies, standardbreds, grade horses, Tennessee walking horses, and more. And we've really found when we can bring all these incredible horses into one space where there's horse lovers looking to bring a new horse home, pretty magical things happen. So if anyone is looking for a horse, they can stop by, they can meet the horses, they can work with the horses, talk to the adoption organization to learn more about them, and go through the adoption process right there. So for anybody looking for a new right horse, it's a really great place to explore adoption and see what this program is all about.
Awesome. So you mentioned based on the small animals. So like when you go into PetSmart and you weren't really planning on coming home with a new kitten, but you see the kittens there and you're like, I can't resist. This one picked me. That was what happened to us. I mean, our cat reached out of the cage and like grabbed our arm. So she came home with us. So it's kind of a similar thing. Like people can see the horses right there on site. We know everyone loves horses if they're at Equine Affaire, and maybe you fall in love with the perfect special horse while you're there. You said there's going to be 40. Is that right? That's amazing. That's a
Just
great
about,
number.
yeah. I think we're hitting around 37 right now, which is awesome. We have 10 different attending organizations from across the country. We have representation from New York, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Oklahoma, which is awesome. It's great to see so many different partners of ours come together in this one spot to collaborate, meet each other, and just market everyone's horses and get them homes.
Fantastic. And can people bring them home from the event? I mean, people probably won't be driving their horse trailer there, but how long does the adoption process usually take? Is it something you can start on site and then arrange for delivery later, or how does that work?
Yeah, each of these groups has a little bit of their own process, but they will all have adoption applications on site. And for a lot of them, that process really is just about getting to know you, knowing what you want to do with your horse, and then making sure that they have the right match and that horse that you're looking for. So they'll go through that process with you, walk you through it while you're at Equine Affaire. And then, many of our partners are local and have transport contacts. We'll even have some options for those that are looking to get a horse home. We may be able to help in certain situations. So really, if you find your right horse, we'll help you find a way to get that horse home and make that happy match. So that's the whole goal of this.
I love it. Yes. Transport's important. I know you guys work really hard on that to be able to remove that barrier from adoption. So I think that's important to note because, people, they find that horse. If they don't have a trailer, they can still figure it out, and you guys will make that happen. So I love it. And then we have a little bit different this month, 3 horses to talk about, which I love because that will give us all kinds of different horses depending on who's listening, what your needs are. Maybe you never thought of this type of horse, but once you go look at these pictures, I promise you are going to fall in love with one of them because I already have. And the first one I want to talk about is Bestie, who is an 8-year-old thoroughbred gelding. Who would like to tell us a little more about him?
Bestie's going to be coming to Equine Affaire all the way from Oklahoma. So definitely making a bit of a trip to get there. But he's really, just as his name describes, he's looking to be someone's bestie. He is tall at 16'3" hands, and really just an absolute sweetheart. He's got a very active, curious mind. His organization that he's available from is called Nexus Equine, and they describe him as a horse that's just always watching his handler. He wants to learn. He wants to please. He's very sensitive in a very positive way. So someone who really wants to work with their horse on a daily basis and bond with them, Bestie's going to be their bestie. They think he'll be great in a home where he's either enjoyed on the ground. Liberty work would be a great avenue for him, or some light trail riding. I think that's something that they think he'd do really well with a little bit more training. But he's that type of horse that's really keyed into his handler, wants to learn, wants to do right, and just has that perfect balance of charm, sensitivity, and kindness. So whoever ends up with Bestie is going to be very lucky.
Yes, and he's absolutely drop dead gorgeous in my opinion. So please.
I thought so too. That was the one that caught my eye.
Yes, Susan's got a thoroughbred, so she knows she loves them too. That's probably my favorite. And then our next horse has completely just run away with my heart. Winston is a 25-year-old miniature horse gelding, and he is a pinto, and he's adorable. So who would like to tell us more about him?
Yeah, we got to go from the 16 3-hand horse, 16-hand horse, all the way to the 9-hand mini, right? We'll have a variety of different horses there at Equine Affaire. And little Winston is an adorable little paint pinto. He is 25, a little gelding, but he's easy to get along with, easy to lead, a sweet little guy. He has a little mischievous side to him, as he thinks that a lot of fences are suggestions. But he has a very cute personality. He doesn't go anywhere. He's just like, I like the grass on the other side of the fence, that sort of attitude. But an adorable little puffball that would just make anyone a great companion to their herd.
Yes, and I know minis make great companions. If anyone hasn't thought about it before, you don't have to feed them quite as much, and they do kind of tend to live forever a little bit compared to horses, which is nice if you adopt this 25-year-old man, and he's just so cute. So again, please check out his pictures. He just looks very sweet and adorable. Then we've got Toledo is our last one, who is a standardbred mare, and it looks like she is in Ohio right there. So who would like to tell us about her?
Yeah, Toledo is a sweet gal. She is a retired cart horse, and she's about a beautiful sorrel. She's super sweet. Understand she would be a great addition to anyone's barn. She really loves having a job. She could teach her kids how to ride. Is a little older and has a little bit of arthritis, so she won't be, jumping high fences or doing heavy or hard trails, but she is a great sweet horse. She just wants a job, wants to please, would be a great addition to anyone's herd.
Yes, and I just have to make a plug for standardbreds because I worked with them in grad school, and from the 2-year-olds on up, they're just so mature-minded and easy to work with and laid back, and even right off the track, they are just a wonderful disposition, every single one I've worked with. So I just have to make a plug for standardbreds in there if anyone is looking for that type of personality. So yeah, that's our 3 horses. And anything else to say about Equine Affaire and the event and what goes on there for anyone that hasn't attended?
Just say this is a really wonderful event. If you've never been to Equine Affaire and you love horses, this is definitely a bucket list trip to put on your calendar, because the demos, the shopping, the different breeds you get to experience, it's just all magical. And then the adoption affair within that is just a really special representation of how we can come together and create some really powerful things to happen for horses by bringing together adoption organizations, the horse-loving public, and helping connect these special horses to wonderful homes. So encourage everyone to come visit Equine Affaire. And if you're at Equine Affaire, certainly come find us at the Adoption Affair. We'd love to answer your questions about adoption. We'd love to introduce you to the horses, whether or not you're looking to adopt. And if you are looking for a horse, we can say pretty confidently, your right horse is waiting for you, and we'll help you find them.
Fantastic. Sounds great. Well, Bailey and Kaylin, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
For special rates on Horse Illustrated and Young Rider magazine subscriptions just for our podcast listeners, visit horseillustrated.com/barnbanter.